Welcome back everyone to part 5 of our epic 2022 adventure. You've joined us camped at Wallabadah in the New South Wales Northwest region. We've spent the last 4 episodes adventuring through some of the most awesome places in New South Wales, so make sure if you haven't already to go check out the rest of the series so you're all up to date. Today marks a crucial day in this adventure. We will be taking more northern steps and heading in towards Tamworth, then beginning our trek along the Northern Rivers route. We spent many hours last night discussing and planning out potential routes for us to continue this adventure after our original plan was rained out. We were also joined last night by Josh from Reset Adventures, who was crucial in helping us devise a plan for the remainder of the trip. Confident that we had it all worked out though, it was now time for us to begin the next phase of this adventure.
Now what a beautiful morning that we have woken up to here in Wallabadah. So the rain did hold off for us last night and this morning by the looks of it. So yeah, really happy about that. Maybe we'll get some good weather heading into Tamworth. So today, even though we did get a nice clear spot this morning, the forecast is still pretty terrible all up around the Barringtons, so we won't be heading in there. We're going to continue on with our plan B, which is heading into Tamworth, and then from Tamworth we'll be heading up to Armidale and then across and then down the waterfall way, down out through looking at Ebor Falls and just continuing on all throughout there, checking out all the awesome waterfalls on the north coast. Really keen for that because I've never done that before, and then we'll be probably trying to find a spot to camp mid to late afternoon. We don't know where that'll be, and then we'll slowly make our way out to the coast over the next couple of days and then down the coast. So we've also Josh has told us some nice spots down the coast to check out as well, a couple of free camps that we can stop by. But I guess if we have to book some national parks in advance on the coast, that's all good to get a nice spot. But yeah, there will be hopefully a fair bit of beach driving involved if the weather isn't too bad. So fingers crossed that we can have the best outcome for that. So still a really awesome adventure lined up, but now majority of it from here to Coffs Harbour is on the highway, and then we'll try and get as much sand driving in once we hit Coffs Harbour as we can. But yeah, it'll mostly be now from the off-roading, switching over more to the highway touring stuff, which I'm still really excited for because there is just so much to check out in this region that you don't have to go off the highway for. So yeah, let's get some breakfast going and then we'll make our way into Tamworth.
Wallabadah is an awesome little free camp spot on the New England Highway. The facilities are second to none for a free spot, with hot showers available. The site is situated right next to the First Fleet Memorial, and it's an all-time favourite of ours. It's only just short of an hour's drive from Tamworth, so it would probably get pretty busy when big events are on in the country capital. Although don't let that deter you from checking it out. It's truly a magical little spot that most people would drive right past. With last night being the first real wet weather test for all of our setups, it was safe to say that we were all pretty impressed, with only minor tweaks being required to make them all perfect. No one got wet during the night though, and that was the main thing that we were all worried about.
So Josh even reckons that he might head up into the Barringtons himself today, as he's never been up there before. He's only got today and a little bit of tomorrow before he needs to head back. So that is going to be a really exciting adventure for him. So make sure you head over and follow him on Instagram at Reset Adventures so you can see photos and stuff of that. So yeah, we're saying he's never been up into the Barringtons before, and while we have this clear patch, he's going to go check it out. Now it is an absolutely beautiful drive up in there. There is a very old video on my channel where I go up into the Barrington tops, and you can see the road in is just stunning, and the weather is perfect for that. However, it's due to rain up there later this afternoon when we would be anticipating camps. So I really don't want to get stuck in the Barringtons while it's wet, because it is very wet and miserable when it does rain. So we're going to continue down anyway. If it is looking like it's going to be raining, these waterfalls are going to be absolutely pumping, so I'm really excited to see that. I've been wanting to do North Coast waterfalls for ages, so we're going to continue through and pull through with that. So I'm going to go over and give you guys a look at this First Fleet Memorial here in Wallabadah. It's pretty interesting and definitely worth the visit if you're coming through the area. So this is a really cool little area in here. There are some picnic tables under a shade cloth. This little free camp next to Wallabadah has to be one of the best value for money camp spots that there is in this region. There's also a little back area here with the tail of the Second Fleet up in here, so tons and tons of information all around here for First Fleet and stuff like that if you are interested in looking at it. Just all the names of all the people are here. Like I said, little information boards on travel and treks and how long it took them and all different sorts of supplies, and each individual ship was here. And so yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how it was back then. There's one of the ships that sank or something there, and it is right off the highway, and it's really easy to access in here. You'd be surprised what you could get down in here. However, at peak times I'm sure it would get very busy due to the fact that it's literally right off the highway, so it's not hidden. Anyone would probably see it, turn around and chuck a Yui. So yeah, beautiful little spot though. This memorial garden is a nice walk too. I've just been walking around here looking at all the names and stuff like that. Here are some more, but yeah, there's tons of these all around here. So up the top of the First Fleet Memorial there's this big board of all of the people that were convicted and sent over to Australia here. It says where they were convicted and the year and stuff like that. And a lot of the sentences of people that were sent to Australia were actually death. So some people only had like 7-year sentences, some people had death sentences, and I guess that was the death sentence, to be sent here, because the prisons in the UK at this time were very full. And there's also information here on you know, what would have happened when they arrived and stuff like this. So definitely worth coming and reading it for yourself. There's way too much for me to stand here and read. I'd be here all day. So yeah, well worth it to come out here to this free camp and just give it a look. So now I'm going to be heading back down to cook up some breakfast, and then we'll probably slowly make our way into Tamworth as planned.
As everyone woke up, we got on with breakfast and began slowly packing up. Today, Josh decided to be the brave one out of us all and head for the Barrington Tops. He will be spending the night up in there somewhere before beginning his trek home tomorrow. It was still good to have him join us for a night and share some information on some good spots in the regions that we are heading. You'll get to see them over the next few episodes as we slowly make our way to the coast. Once breakfast was all done and camp was all packed up, we said our goodbyes to Josh and we were all ready to hit the road.
We're on the road now, really keen to be heading to Tamworth today. So first stop is the big golden guitar. It's been like 10 years since I've been there, so really looking forward to heading into Tamworth and seeing what's around. Nice open driving around here. The plains and the hills around Tamworth are really beautiful. What a spot we got last night there in Wallabadah. Just awesome little spot. The amenities there are just second to none for a free camp, I think, especially in this region. You won't find another one like that. So from Tamworth we'll be doing a few touristy things in Tamworth, and then we'll be heading up to Armidale and then out to like Ebor and places like that, looking at all the waterfalls along the road in between Armidale and Tamworth. So yeah, really keen for that. That will be really exciting because I've never been through that region before, and I'm really looking forward to it.
It really does make you wonder sometimes, as we crafted this plan due to wet weather, and now the sky was as blue as the sea. We had perfect weather as we drove through the plains of the New South Wales northwest. Fingers crossed it continued to stay this way for us throughout the day. It was only a mere hour's drive from Wallabadah to Tamworth, and it was a fairly leisurely one to say the least. A lot of our driving now for the remainder of the trip will be highway touring, and less off-roading than what would have been seen at the start of the trip. We were still excited though to show that you don't always need to go off-road to have a great adventure. Tamworth is the largest main town in the area and is often considered the country capital of New South Wales. With a population of around 62,000, Tamworth is the second largest inland city of New South Wales, coming in second to Wagga Wagga in the state's south. It's situated on the Peel River and is technically counted as a city rather than a town. It's known as the City of Lights due to Tamworth being the first place in Australia to use electric streetlights back in 1988. There are many cool tourist attractions in Tamworth and big events every year, including the annual Country Music Festival that sees thousands of people flock to the town each year. Alright, so we made it into Tamworth now. I guess at the major attraction, this big golden guitar. It's pretty big, it's pretty golden, and it's behind us now, so there that is. This is one of the major attractions in the Tamworth region, so definitely recommend that you check it out. There it is. And there's a tourist information centre, a motel, KFC, Macca's, all the goods here. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this region as well, a lot of history and a lot of touristy things that it's definitely worth giving Tamworth a visit. Actually, right next to the Golden Guitar is the tourist information centre that we will go and have a look at also. The Big Golden Guitar was officially opened by the legend Slim Dusty and Mr. Paul Crombie on the 25th of January 1988. It's made of fiberglass over a steel frame and is a replica of the award presented to artists at the Country Music Awards of Australia each year. It's one of the many big attractions that can be found all over Australia and is a major drawcard for tourism in Tamworth. One thing's for sure, it is damn windy here in Tamworth today. We are just going to give you guys a quick look around Tamworth, go for a drive around because it's been very many years since we've been here. And we just want to see what's changed, and then from there our first destination of the day will be to Ebor Falls, which is supposed to be a really nice waterfall out past Armadale. So we'll be heading up to Armadale and then heading east, and then we'll probably end up somewhere around Dorrigo and Dorrigo Falls tonight. So really looking forward to that, really excited to get to the waterfalls. So let's get driving around Tamworth and see what there is to see. Well, as we left Tamworth, we began heading further north towards Armadale. It was closing in on lunchtime, so we were more than likely going to make the stop off at Armadale for something to eat before beginning our trek into the Northern Rivers region and taking our first steps east. The scenery was still absolutely beautiful throughout this region as we enjoyed more open plains closing in more and more on Armadale. Alrighty, so we just stopped off for some lunch in Armadale here, and we're just getting ready now to head out to Ebor Falls. The weather has started to come over pretty grim, so still looking forward to seeing Ebor Falls and Dorrigo Falls rain, hail or shine. In fact, it would probably be better in the rain because there'd be more water going through it. So yeah, really keen to see that, and not far now. It's only about an hour out of Armadale, so we'll be there shortly. Armadale is an hour and a half's drive north of Tamworth and marks the halfway point between Sydney and Brisbane on the New England Highway. For us though, it would mark the point in our adventure that we would stop heading north and begin to head east. We would now be beginning our trek down the Waterfall Way, and fitting to its name, we will be visiting a few of the many waterfalls along the way on our journey towards Coffs Harbour. We had planned to find a camp somewhere around the Dorrigo region tonight with a spot that Josh told us about in mind. So we're just out of Armadale now, finally on the Waterfall Way. I'm really keen for this part of the trip as I have never been in this region before. I'm really keen to see what the scenery of Waterfall Way offers, and of course all the beautiful waterfalls along the way. We're going to be starting off our journey down Waterfall Way with Ebor Falls, which is supposed to be one of the more popular spots and nicer spots along here, so that's sort of towards the Armadale side of things. And then hopefully we'll end up in Dorrigo, around Dorrigo Falls tonight for a camp. I'm really keen for that. That's kind of as far as we have planned on where we're exactly going to stay. We know the general direction of where we're going to be heading, but yeah, really keen for that. The scenery out in this region is just absolutely beautiful through Tamworth, Armadale, even all the way back through Scone and out past Wallabadah. That was just a beautiful drive out there. So if that's any indication of what's to come in front, I'm really keen. Well, our worst fears came true as we're ploughing down the Waterfall Way. The beautiful blue skies turned into storm clouds very quickly, and we were belted with rain as we approached Ebor Falls. Now, Ebor Falls is about an hour's drive east of Armadale along the Waterfall Way. It's a pretty spectacular sight as this waterfall has two sections, a top and a bottom falls, and due to the rain we were expecting It looked like we were going to be dealing with this type of weather for at least the next 2 to 3 days, although we were happy if we could get some sort of clear spots in amongst the rain. At this stage though, it was going to be a battle to stay dry at Ebor Falls. So here we are at Ebor Falls in the soaking wet, and yeah, nice drive out through here. We hit the rain about 15 k's ago, and by the sounds of it, it's raging pretty hard, so that's cool. That's why we're here. Really excited to see it. The waterfall was absolutely pumping. What an amazing sight. Now how awesome is that? If the rain's done one thing, it's really opened up that waterfall. That is just raging right through there. There's also a little track that you can take to get down to the lower falls, which is actually a second waterfall, so that's really cool, but it's a bit too wet for us to be doing that. It's really starting to hammer down now, so we don't want to get stuck out in this too much. Just get a look at that. Wow, absolutely beautiful. Good thing someone went out right before this trip and bought this Ranger with this canopy, so we can stand under it when it rains too. Yeah. It's really nice under here. Actually, it's kind of like the perfect size for two people when it starts hammering down. So yeah. So wait for it to cool down a bit, calm down a bit. Then I might just go have one more look at the falls before we head off. You just got to stop and appreciate the forces of nature sometimes when you're looking at things like Ebor Falls. It's just amazing how awesome it can be sometimes. I can only imagine how awesome this will look in the dry, because it looks pretty spectacular in the wet. Yeah, but you can just hear it raging for all the way back here even. You can just hear it raging from the car park, and even the second falls down there. It's going hard, definitely. Oh, there's some thunder, so sounds like it's going to be going even harder tomorrow. Fingers crossed though the weather does clear up, because I would love to come back here and go down there. That'd just be so awesome. Anyway, let's give you guys one more look at Ebor Falls before we start heading off to Dorrigo. Wow, the camera really just doesn't do this place justice. It is just beautiful here. If you're ever traveling through the Northern Rivers, Waterfall Way is definitely worth all the time, even in the wet. How awesome was that? I may be a little bit wet after that one, but that was well worth it, all for that experience. I mean, Ebor Falls was just beautiful. I can't wait to get a look at all the other waterfalls out along here. Absolutely stunning. So now, as said, we're heading towards Dorrigo, which is just only half an hour from Ebor, and then from there we'll be probably looking for somewhere to camp, maybe in the showground. Josh from Reset Adventures said that the showground's a pretty good free camp, so we'll head over there. Hopefully we can get a clear spot in the weather to set up in, and then we'll probably go to Dorrigo Falls, or Dangar Falls as it's actually called, tomorrow sometime, and then move on after that out towards Coffs Harbour. Absolutely thrilled with what Ebor Falls had to offer. It was absolutely worth the detour and worth the trek down there in the rain. Anyway, we're on the road again, so let's keep going. It was only a short 30-minute drive from Ebor to Dorrigo. We planned on staying in the showgrounds there, and we were all hoping after our stint in the rain that there were hot showers there. So far, even though it was flogging rain, I was still really enjoying our trip down the waterfall way. I don't think that there are many other places that it would be worth trekking on besides the waterfall way. You get to see all the waterfalls when they are absolutely raging. It was also shocking to see how quickly the ecosystems change when driving along the waterfall way. Not too far out of Armidale, it went from the open plains of the northwest to the dense rainforests of the northern rivers. An awesome sight to see such diversity so quickly. It's really cool up through here, travelling across down Waterfall Way, how the ecosystem changes, how we're no longer down in the flats and the plains in Armidale or even higher up now. Going through the mountains, it's so much more dense. Obviously there's a lot more water around, and it's just really fascinating how quickly that change can come about. How you can be literally within 5 kilometers in a completely different environment. And I guess that's one beautiful thing about Australia and touring Australia, especially throughout this region of New South Wales, is that it happens quite a lot. You go from the barren plains up into the mountains, back down into the plains, into the hills, all very much within an hour. You could have gone through 5 or 6 different ecosystems. It's really fascinating, but I just find it cool through this region how quickly it's changed. So here we are at Dorrigo in the showground tonight. A little bit wet out, and the ground here is really wet too. Saw a nice little place. So we're near Dangar Falls now, so in the morning we'll probably head over and check out Dangar Falls, also known as Dorrigo Falls. So we seem to have a small break in the weather now, so it's not absolutely pissing down like it was before. It's just kind of a little bit sprinkly, and so we'll just get set up quickly while we can. First thing we did was pop all the awnings out, but this is a nice little spot here at Dorrigo Showground. It's $18 a night for unpowered, self-sustained, which is what we are. We're not powered, so yeah, it's good. Really looking forward to tonight. Maybe just, you know, hopefully the weather sticks it out. Yeah, nice little spot. I'll show you guys around here in just a moment. We set up as quickly as we could in Dorrigo as the looming weather posed a potential thunderstorm. The showgrounds at Dorrigo clearly hadn't been used for a while, although the camping section was very well maintained. There were toilets and hot showers available to our relief. Now the next couple of days I was glad to have a setup that was popped up in just a couple of minutes. The rain was going to be annoying, but there was no way we were going to throw the towel in. We are determined to push on and persevere the weather. It was quite a difficult time for some of the others to set up in this type of weather due to the smaller awnings on their cars. The Navara and the Ranger didn't have wraparound awnings like the Pajero and Patrol, so they were getting really wet setting up the swags. Often during bad sections of rain, Dad and Jake had to jump in the car to seek shelter, or run under mine and Lockie's awnings. Once set up though, there was very limited room under either awning to stand. We were really wishing we had a big hexatarp like the one we had the night before, right about now. So after taking a look around the Dorrigo showground here, it's quite clear that the actual showground itself here has not been used for any events or anything like that in quite some time. And the camping section, however, is pretty well maintained, and it's very regularly used, as you can clearly see. And I think that that's one of the main attractions here. This little campground here probably promotes the town and encourages people to stop by and stay here, maybe spend a little bit of money in town. It is a very small town. It's one of those really small Northern River Highlands towns with not much around, only a couple of little shops, at school, and the showgrounds really. So it's good to see though that little towns like this still offer stuff like this in these times, because, you know, as we know, a lot of places were not offering overnight accommodation anymore, but this little showground, it is. And even though the actual showground itself is not being used, the facilities are still being put to use, and it's helping out the little local community here. So $18 a night, we're happy to pay that to help out this little community here in Dorrigo. It's really nice, actually. We're really enjoying it here. Very peaceful spot. Yeah, the rain's a bit annoying, but could easily spend a couple of days here. Dorrigo would actually be a really good spot to go and see all of the major attractions in the Northern Rivers region, especially down Waterfall Way. We're only coming through this region for a night, so
You know, we came in from Armidale this morning, did Ebor Falls, and then we'll be doing Dangar Falls or Dorrigo Falls tomorrow, and then we'll be heading out towards the coast. But we could easily spend a couple of days in this region exploring. There's just that much to do here, which is really exciting, which means that we will definitely be coming back to this region on a dedicated trip through northern rivers and the north coast. But yeah, just for this trip we're just brushing through, and yeah, you could easily spend a few days camped here at Dorrigo exploring the entire region. It's kind of very well situated actually, because it's not too far from Coffs Harbour on one end and not too far from Armidale on the other. It's kind of just right in the middle, so it's perfect to do the attractions on either side, and I guess that's why it's so appealing. And for 18 bucks, why wouldn't you? Honestly, there's hot showers here, toilets, power, everything that you need. So come and check it out if you're in the region. I highly recommend Dorrigo Showground. I can actually see it filling up. There's not a lot of space here, but there's definitely room for overflow, as you can clearly see where I'm standing. I'm sure that they would open this up for overflow if need be. But yeah, really beautiful campground.
Dorrigo Showground is situated just off the waterfall way, and you honestly wouldn't take it for such a nice spot. On a clear, dry day, this spot will be awesome, as the ground will be dry and the atmosphere would be reminiscent of a small country town hidden up in the Northern Rivers highlands. We were enjoying our stay despite the weather in basically the only dry spot in the whole place where the ground wasn't slosh. It was a beautiful place to walk around in the clear patches of dry weather, truly embracing the quiet, dense atmosphere of the town. Very similar to the inland towns on the New South Wales south coast that I used to visit in my childhood. Truly amazing.
So as you can see there, it's not very big, it's not very much, and I'm sure that they probably use this area of a Dorrigo Showground for overflow camping, and there's plenty of open space for it if there was ever something on here. I'm sure that they used to do shows here, and it probably wouldn't take that much work to get it back into working order, so to speak. Just a nice big mow of the oval there in the middle, and then a little bit of cleaning here and there. I'm sure this place will be ready to go for another show. So as far as the rest of today goes, I'm really not sure. We'll probably just chill around and not do much like we've been doing, and then in the morning hopefully get up, and then we'll be heading out to Dangar Falls. And who knows where we're going to be camping though. That's going to be the big question. I don't know where tomorrow will take us, so really excited for that. I guess the best adventures do always come from where you don't know where you're going to end up. This whole trip, I sort of had a rough itinerary, but it's still been an absolutely fantastic trip. Even if it hasn't all kind of turned out the way that we wanted it to. Of course, you know, the itinerary suggests that we were going to be off-road doing four-wheeling for most of this. However, now it sort of looks like we'll be staying on the tarmac for the second half of the trip. I do hope you guys are enjoying it so far though, because we're really enjoying this trip regardless of the cards that we've been dealt. Really enjoying just actually getting out there and exploring these regions on the dirt or on the tarmac, doesn't really matter. Of course, if you've actually gotten to this point in the series, thanks for sticking around. I'm sure there's a few days worth of videos and content. There'll be a few episodes up by now, I'm sure, and there will still be a few more to come. We've still got like 8 days to go, which is quite incredible actually thinking about it. We've been out and about now for 6 days, and we don't look like we're going to be slowing down anytime soon. Regardless of what the weather has planned for us, we'll still make sure that we have a good adventure. So you guys just have the pleasure of coming along with us. A lot of these things throughout this region I'm experiencing for the first time right here with you guys, so you're experiencing it with us maybe for the first time too. So really beautiful region through here, and I look forward to continuing exploring it over the next week or so.
Well, for the rest of the afternoon, we just cooked up dinner and then sat around and braced out the weather. It rained on and off for the rest of the afternoon, but the time went quickly, and soon we found ourselves heading to bed and preparing for the next day of adventure.
Oh, good morning guys, here we are in Dangar, and what a wet night we had last night. It just did not stop raining at all, and so we're quickly kind of packing up now in this little break in the rain that we have, and then we're going to go and have a look at Dangar Falls. So what a wet night we had last night here in Dorrigo. It was just It was really wet, everyone's stuff got wet, and so we're just quickly packing up in this break in the rain. Everyone kind of got up a bit later today, so once we get everything packed down, hopefully it doesn't start raining right in the middle of the pack down, but you know, it is what it is. And then we're going to go have a look at Dangar Falls, and then have a look at a few other things in the area before moving on towards Coffs Harbour. So yeah, exciting anyway. So give you a quick look around camp while we pack up, and then we'll get on the road.
Breaks in the rain at this point weren't common, and so we made the most of this seemingly long one and got packed down. All of our gear was wet and we had no chance to dry it out before setting off. We weren't too bothered though, as we will be rolling it all back out later on this afternoon, and thankfully it still had many days to dry out before we would be heading home. The plan for today was quite rough, as we didn't really know where we wanted to camp. All that we had planned today was to head to Dangar Falls, which is just out of Dorrigo, and then in the general direction of Coffs Harbour. Well, thankfully it didn't take us long to pack up and be ready to hit the road.
Alright, we're in now, we're on the road. We're going to be heading into Dorrigo, which is literally like just around the corner here, and then we're hopefully going to look for something to eat, because we all woke up pretty late today and didn't have enough time to cook. And then we'll be heading up to Dangar Falls and probably having a look at anything else that there is to do in the region, because like I said, we don't really have a plan for today. So this region will be ours to explore for the entire day, try and find somewhere else to camp, and then we'll be heading towards Coffs slowly, so I'm looking forward to it. So let's get into it.
Once saddling up and leaving the showgrounds in Dorrigo, it was only a short 15-minute drive out to Dangar Falls. We stopped into town and had some breakfast first, and also looked for an umbrella, as we didn't have one in any of the cars. Driving out there, the creek in which the falls runs off can be seen, and it's pretty shocking to think that a creek that actually isn't that big can feed a waterfall that is absolutely massive. With the rain that this region has had over the last couple of days, we were expecting big things for Dangar Falls. It was only a short drive, although the scenery of this region is just absolutely stunning, with lush rolling hills all round.
Here we are at Dangar Falls, only a couple of k's out of Dorrigo. Awesome little spot, the coffee cart set up here. Everyone's going to be soaking wet except Dad, who bought an umbrella big enough for one person. Anyway, we're going to go have a quick look at the falls. Typically it actually wasn't that bad when we left, and now it's absolutely pissing down, so hopefully we can get a good look at the falls before we get too wet.
So how good is this? Let's get a look at the falls. They're absolutely raging after the rains last night. You can hear it too. So apparently you can also swim down the bottom down there, but I'm not sure if you would after such incredible downpour. That's a lot of water moving through Dangar Falls there. Did you swim down there?
Oh mate, I'd stand right underneath it.
So it's cleared up for a second, and Dad and I have decided that we're going to go do the lower falls walk and try and head down and get a nice view down the bottom there. We didn't do it yesterday at Ebor Falls and absolutely regretted it. So today, rain, hail or shine, we're going to go down and see the bottom of Dangar Falls, because it's just absolutely beautiful here. This whole region right through Waterfall Way is absolutely stunning, and we're really keen to get down there and see what it's like at the bottom. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of water flowing through. So we'll see you down there.
The walk down to the bottom of Dangar Falls was awesome. It didn't take that long and the track was very well made. Most of it was on a wooden deck that takes you down through thick rainforest type vegetation. A very awesome little walk with an epic reward at the end. To be honest, the rainy atmosphere made the walk even more awesome in my opinion, as it really brought out the atmosphere of the rainforest. Once we reached the bottom, we were rewarded with an absolutely amazing sight, and to our surprise, there were actually people swimming down the bottom.
Wow, this thing is just spectacular. Even from just down here, you can really feel the power of it. There's a lot of water coming through. Rushing down a creek here behind us. There's actually a fair few people down here who have dared to swim even in this weather. Wow, what a spectacular sight. Wow, how beautiful is Dangar Falls. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as we did. That was truly spectacular. Now we begin the walk up the top. Wow, so worth it. What an awesome walk that Dangar Falls, or Lower Dangar Falls walk is. Even though it's raining, it's actually quite hot and still very humid around here. It's almost the perfect weather to go swimming in, but you wouldn't think that. Anyway, now that we've had a look at the beautiful Dangar Falls, we're going to slowly start making our way towards Coffs Harbour. Really excited for that. Again, have no idea where we'll be tonight, so yeah, who knows? We'll see where the rest of the day takes us.
Well, after that amazing Lower Dangar Falls walk, that is going to do us for part 5 of this epic adventure. Make sure if you enjoyed to make sure you subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, and if you haven't already, head over to the channel to check out all the previous episodes so you're all up to date. In next week's episode, we'll be heading east towards Coffs Harbour and then south down the beautiful eastern coastline, checking out some awesome beach and river spots along the way. So make sure you stay tuned, and as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you in part 6.